So in order to make a short film, you're going to need some equipment. I'm going to tell you something you already know, which is it's not about the equipment. The only thing you need to make a short film is a good microphone and a camera. Camera doesn't have to be good. And then you need some action in front of the camera. This is the Sony a7S II, quite affordable little camera here, probably about 1,000 USD 4 years ago. So you could probably pick this up for very little now. This is great because it's really small, but the image quality is bad for a short film. But if you want to just get the film made, then you might need a smaller camera and you don't want to carry around like a big annoying camera. I think the lesson I've learned with cameras in particular is going to the camera store and holding it and, you know, taking some videos with it. Is it intuitive for you? It's not about, you know, what the reviews say, it's about how you work with the camera. The next thing that you need on a short film is a good light. You're gonna need maybe 3 or 4 or 5 lights, but having a very good key light, a powerful key light, is just going to compete with the sun and illuminate any nighttime scene and turn it from an amateur film to something that's perfect. Because as you probably know already, if you're watching this, the exposure triangle, ISO, aperture, and shutter speed needs light. You don't want to have that ISO really high and get a grainy image, so buy a big, or don't buy, but you know, rent out a good light. The other thing that you'll need is, of course, a microphone. This thing that we're using to record this film here today is a Zoom H5, and I bought this when I was 18, and that is 7 years ago now. So this thing was like quite expensive for me when I was 18. It was like 500 bucks, New Zealand dollars. But I kind of knew a good microphone, it's the sort of thing that doesn't really age. Unlike a camera is always being updated. You know, you get 1080p. I remember when 1080p came out, and then they go, oh, we got 4K, or we got 8K, we got 12K. And you going, well, I got to get rid of my camera now. No, not necessarily. You can have a 1080p film and people will understand the film. If you don't have a good microphone, then it's going to be, no one's going to watch it. It's going to be hard for the viewer to get into that world without a good microphone. There are a million little bits and pieces that you need to make a short film. Okay, this is an unorthodox piece of equipment. This is a Notepad. I was in the cadet forces for 10 years, and having the ability to write down your instructions and give it to somebody and say, give this to somebody, or take this with you so you know how to get to the place, to the car, to the batteries, you know, this is really useful. It also acts as a white balance, so you can put it up in front of the camera, check the white balance. So some more thoughts on gear. I'm using the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. You know, I'm about to go on a trip to Massachusetts, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I should bring this one because it's about 1/3 of the size and has better battery life. But I am gonna try and work with this new camera because it creates a beautiful, beautiful image, and it's very intuitive. But I also have some other things that I always bring onto a film set. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little multi-tool. A film set is a place where things go wrong. So having a pair of pliers and a little knife is actually incredibly useful. You need to have a roll of tape. People are going to walk in front of you and you say, this is where I want you to stand. You need to have a little marker. You don't just want to grab random pieces of objects. You need to have a piece of tape. A lens cleaning cloth. I didn't really understand how brilliant these are until I did a film and the sensor had dust on it, and in every single shot you have these 2 gray marks in the video. Awful. I have the 50 Mil Canon. This is a very cheap, affordable lens, about $100. Makes the face look very authentic and organic, but it is quite close. So it's hard to do handheld stuff with 50 mil, which is why I have this 35 mil. beautiful, also authentic face for your subject, and easier to do handheld things with. And then I have a 11 to 16 mil, which is just here. This was a lucky buy on Trade Me. It was about $200, bit of a steal. So cinematography, the juxtaposition is handheld versus the tripod. We use the tripod in the bar scenes, and we use the handheld on the street because I wanted to show that the character was secure in his environment in the bar, and then in the street he's a little bit more wary. Don't just go out and get a Steadicam because it's going to be really beautiful, because it might not be authentic for what the story you're trying to tell is. So that's probably the number one thing to remember with all gear, is it's only necessary if it brings your viewer closer to the story.